What the hell is going on? Last week, our Patreon page was suspended because apparently The Chop, which is our review show of Drag Race where we discuss the edit and producers manipulation, is piracy. And this is just one occurrence in a series of unfortunate events that involved small creators who dared being critical of Drag Race, making fun of it, or God forbid, bring any kind of receipts and discuss what really happens behind closed doors. 2 weeks ago, Jordan T received a copyright strike from World of Wonder because he made fun of RuPaul wearing sweatpants on stage. A month ago, Aki couldn't publish his video titled The Favoritism of the Winner's Circle, and I talked to both of them. So tonight, first I want to show you exactly what happened to all of us, and then we'll be discussing the current situation and how it relates to the fandom, the franchise, and the evolution of Drag Race in general. And to discuss all of these things with me, the one and only Wilma Fingerdew.
Hey dolls, it's me, Wilma Fingerdew. Sweet Marie and the ships at sea, I'm here, I made it, no one got hurt yet.
Thank you so much for coming, I really appreciate it. So, first of all, very quickly, let's bring everyone up to date. What the hell is fair use? I'm not going to go through all of the details here, there are a ton of videos who already do that, but for brevity, in a nutshell, fair use is an extension of freedom of speech, and it's a basic right that's granted in every developed country today. So on YouTube, it allows content creators to use images or snippets of videos for the purpose of commenting, criticizing, making a parody, without having actually to ask permission to a copyright holder. So if freedom of speech grants you the freedom to express your opinion and criticism, then fair use allows you to complement your argument with the images and videos that you are referring to. Now, unfortunately, most copyright holders seem to conveniently forget that this right exists and routinely abuse the copyright system through the use of copyright blocks and copyright strikes. What's the difference, you ask? Well, a copyright block blocks your videos from being viewed, either in some countries or the whole world, while a copyright strike will forcibly take down your video. Get 3 copyright strikes and you hit the jackpot. Your channel goes down, your YouTube goes down, your AdSense account goes down, and you're basically banned from YouTube forever. Wilma, you still alive? Did I kill you already? Why do I keep saying Wilma? I'm so sorry, I'm butchering your name.
I love it. It reminds me of that song on the Flintstones. Yeah, 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 Wilma. I love my Wilma. No, you call me Wilma. You go ahead. There's worse things I could be called.
So for us, the moment we started doing this channel here on YouTube, we actually started 5 years ago. We all received one specific kind of copyright claim, and it was always from Viacom, the company that licensed the Drag Race rights in the US, the owner of Logo TV, of VH1, and of Paramount Plus. And it was always a copyright block in the US and its territories. And for many years, that has been a constant on this channel. You publish a video, copyright block. Blocked in the US by Viacom. Another video, copyright block. Another video, copyright block. Copyright block. Copyright block. Always blocked in the US, always by Viacom. Sometimes those claims turned into copyright strikes, and we are one of the few channels who successfully went through the legal process of reverting almost all of those copyright strikes. In all of these years, personally, I never had the pleasure to deal directly or indirectly with World of Wonder. However, things were about to change. After season 11 and All Stars 4, we started to get frustrated with the editing, the producers' manipulations. So in December of 2019, we published a couple of videos, and after they were received pretty well, we dedicated all of our time to actually developing the Chop. And that's what we've been doing for almost the past 2 years. And we enjoyed a relative period of peace from copyright claims, but mostly I believe because no one was actually watching. It's not like we had hundreds of thousands of views and all the eyes pointed on us. No, we would get 1,000 views per episode, and that's it. So we mostly flew, under the radar. And that all changed once Bussy Queen mentioned our little investigation on who was behind the copyright blocks issued against Tamisha, Iman and other queens who tried to publish their music video on YouTube. Now, if you don't know, in season 13, the queens were asked to produce a music video that aired on the season 13 reunion. The problem is, when they tried to upload those videos on YouTube, they were blocked by Collab DRM. Who the hell is CollabDRM? Well, it's a company whose job is claiming content on YouTube for other companies. After our little bit of investigation, we found out that World of Wonder was reasonably the only one who could have issued those copyright claims. Little did we know, soon after, those same videos were published and monetized on the RuPaul's Drag Race YouTube channel.
Mm-hmm.
So on April 19th, we published our findings and the video went moderately well. And once we published this video, for 2 weeks, nothing happened. Absolutely nothing. Until on May the 2nd, Bussy Queen mentioned it to an audience of almost 500,000 people. And not even 24 hours later, 3 things that never happened in the 5 years that we've been creating content on YouTube actually happened. The Chop received its first copyright claim. The copyright claim was blocking the video worldwide, and the copyright claim was issued by Viacom in conjunction with CollabDRM, the company that represents World of Wonder's interests here on YouTube. And mind you, this claim was manual. It was not automatic. Somebody watched the review and thought, oh yes, this is definitely piracy. I'm going to definitely block it. What I want people to realize is that they didn't block the video that was mentioned by Bussy Queen, because there were no images from Drag Race in there, and probably if it did disappear so suddenly, it would have actually blown the issues out of proportions. But no, they claimed one of our latest reviews, as if to say, listen, we saw what you did, we're watching, don't forget that. So I immediately prepared a video that came out the same day, and I discussed the whole situation, what just happened to us, and the fear that they would continue doing that for the nature of our show, which is a very critical show, a brutally honest critical show. So the video was picked up and reposted by Aki, who is another content creator here on YouTube, who had similar issues with them in the past. Curiously, 2 weeks later, Aki himself experienced some curious problems when he tried to publish this video titled The Favoritism of the Winner Circle. But, you know, I'm sure it's just a coincidence. So the video contained a critical analysis of the performance of the queens from season 13, supported by, you know, the usual snippets of videos, images that were there to prove his point. So when he tried to upload the video to YouTube, the video was automatically blocked worldwide, and he tried everything: more cuts, less video, voiceover with original audio, without original audio, voiceover and subtitles, mirror the video, warp the video, use special effects, change positions of the videos, and nothing worked. So the moment he tried to post anything that contained any kind of pieces of videos, he would receive a copyright block. So eventually he became so frustrated that he gave up on directly showing what he was criticizing and only resorted to use images. And the video finally went up on May 24th. So it looks as if his channel was flagged in a way that no matter the amount of video material that he used, if a video was present in there, an automatic worldwide block would be immediately issued. Then
and they would get it too, because they've already kind of caught them doing it once. So all they have to do is contact YouTube and go, they're at it again. And they'll block it without even really looking at it.
Yes, independently on the length, independently if you're doing fair use or not. It really looks like they put a flag in there and nothing goes anymore. A couple of months later, a creator called Jordan T received a copyright strike from World of Wonder. Now, during an episode of Untucked, the Drag Race editors included by mistake a shot of RuPaul wearing sweatpants on stage. And Jordan, yes.
Like, so half drag, half sweatpants?
Yes.
What episode? I have to go watch it now.
I think it was episode 4. It was during Untucked. You know, when they make these scenes with the black and white images?
Yeah, the transitions, yeah.
Yes, that was when it happened. So, yeah, I mean, it was ridiculous.
Well, whose fault is that?
Well,
you know what I mean? If they can start saying that to YouTube channels, then when are they going to be able to start saying that to the news? All right, this footage went out. I understand people don't want people to see it, and they'll make any attempt to stop it from being seen happen. But at the same time, it's out there. It's too late. you going, oh no, how do we stop this? It's too late.
Yes, the thing that puzzles me the most, but then I'm going to explain you why this instance is different, is that
All right.
RuPaul herself went on a show with Joan Rivers joking about the fact that she wears sweatpants when she films Drag Race.
Once we're behind the counter, I put my pajamas on and I'm in the dress and you don't see anything from here up, right?
So I'm like, where is the issue? But the thing, I think it's a little bit more deep than what it actually looks. And I know it's going to sound like a conspiracy theory, but it's just a theory. Please give me the benefit of the doubt. So what Jordan did was making a parody of this snippet of video where RuPaul was wearing sweatpants. So he took that clip and he patched it with a small queen from Utica Queen from the challenge where she was actually roasting RuPaul. So, and it's Utica Queen, that same queen who cracked a joke about RuPaul wearing sweatpants on stage, that same queen who seemingly paid the price for it by being misconstrued in the final edit, portrayed as a villain, and receiving little to no media support from World of Wonder, when the exact opposite happened to Candy Muse. Candy Muse had a redemption edit, so they were in full support of Candy Muse when the Tamisha fight went on. They even published images saying, oh, don't be a dick to queens. When they did this shit to Utica Queen, nothing happened. She bombed a challenge. She was misconstrued as somebody who was insulting heavier people or older people. It was a shit show. It was a shit show. So what Jordan did was just opposing these two clips together in like, I think it was like a 30-second video. And they received a copyright strike from World of Wonder. This was not something that happened automatically. Somebody at World of Wonder sent an email to the copyright team at YouTube and asked them to bring the video down. This is when I thought, okay, we need to start seriously talking about what's happening in here. So, of course, I contacted Jordan T, offering our experience in reverting copyright strikes. He thanked me, but he declined. And he told me that he feels like World of Wonder has been letting him produce drag-related content only because it's good promotion for the show and it doesn't want to piss them off. And he feels like trying to reverse the copyright strike would only make things worse. Which, in a way, I understand. I understand being scared. We are all scared when it comes to the possibility of being dragged to court for something that though you have the right to do it, the mere idea of that happening to you, of course, it scares the shit out of everyone. But if you keep being silent, these things will continue happening. A week later, talking about timing, Patreon told us to contact their support team because our page was in violation of their terms of service. And last week they finally responded and they told us that our Patreon page was suspended for alleged copyright infringement related to our reviews. No additional information. After explaining that our videos are fair use and asking them what exactly is going on and who is behind it, our page seemed to magically go back up. They gave us a name, which I'm not going to share here, but it also looks like the claimant this time changed the story. Now it's no more about the videos, it's about the thumbnail. From his point of view, the thumbnails are the one who are infringing copyright. So at this point, after talking to a lawyer, I was advised to bring to their attention that our thumbnails are fair use as well, and since the original material that was used to create these thumbnails belongs to World of Wonder and VH1, then they are the only one who can actually challenge our claim for fair use. And also it's in my legal right to know which company this person is claiming to represent. Or if Patreon took any steps to actually verify the identity of this person, because it's easy to get in your head and thinking, oh shit, now they are coming for our Patreon, which I believe it's happening. But there's also another possibility that somebody is so stupid that just because they don't like us, they can think they can go on Patreon, impersonate World of Wonder or Viacom CBS in order to try to hurt us financially. It's a possibility. I don't believe it's happening, but it's still a reasonable possibility. Nevertheless, today they responded. They responded actually, I think 4 hours ago. They ignored my request. And instead, it looks like they started the legal process known as counter notification without even asking for our permission. Now, if you don't know Counter notification is a legal challenge to be sued if they want to keep your content down. It's no fucking joke. You are literally telling a company, either you sue me or you bring my content back up. So this is not something that you do, like having breakfast and smoking a cigarette. You want to have some strong legal advice before you get into this. And it looks like Patreon started this process without our consent or authorization. And that is not only downright illegal, it's outrageous. So at this point, I don't understand what the fuck is going on, if Patreon is run by monkeys, who is behind these claims that are coming to us, and I have no idea what the hell is going to happen. Another thing that happened today, Bussy Queen got some of his videos demonetized, not his whole channel, just some of his videos. And from what I see and from my experience, to me it looks like her videos got flagged. Either because somebody doesn't like her, or because those companies are back at it again. But I don't think so, because Bussy is simply too big for this kind of bullshit. If they start claiming her videos, she can bring them to court in a moment and expose them so much that they will lose literally tens of millions of dollars in a matter of a day. So it looks to me like this is either some trolling attempt from people flagging her videos, and once they get flagged, YouTube is all automatic. It looks like they don't really have time to follow personally each and every claim, so they take away monetization. And what she says, it's true, because we experienced it as well. The moment they take out monetizations, your views go down the drain. It's just as simple as that. There is no going behind it. Let's be honest, it's not like Bussy was jerking off in front of the screen while talking to us about the shade going on in the screen. You know, they flagged the video for sexual content. So the only way
most reviews of RuPaul's Drag Race don't include those things. I mean, that's probably one of the reasons I don't watch them. No, I'm kidding.
So I don't know. It's all a fucked up situation.
I've only ever had two problems with YouTube. One, I talk about Jorge on my channel all the time. Jorge, drink me.
Yeah.
And so the guy that plays Jorge for me is just one of my best friends, international gay porn star Ryan Russell. And so I've interviewed Ryan a couple of times as Wilma on my channel. Not about specifically anything, just, getting to know Jorge type things. But I linked on one of them his website, which is called Ryan Time TV. And it's kind of like a catch-all for everything he does. So there's links to his content online. There's products that he sells. Like and it never struck me that this was a porn site.
Oh,
but yeah, no, it just never struck me as that, because that's not how I see it. You know what I mean? Like he's not selling anything. It's just really a landing page almost. And so I got demonetized for and I asked them and they answered, which made me think, content, something about illicit content. And I realized the only thing that it was this link. So I took it off and told them that I'd taken it off, and I was remonetized.
You were you are the first person that I hear that got remonetized.
Yeah, I didn't. I just sent them an email back saying, "Oh, I totally understand why and what, and it, my bad, and I've taken it down." And then the next thing I did, I was trying to produce my videos faster, and somebody said, "Why don't you use video and clip out the pieces you need, as opposed to doing screen grabs?" And I did. So I had these little snippets of live footage, like video footage. I don't think any of them were on a loop, though. This was a while ago. Like, this was a few years ago. That video got flagged for a copy. It was like I got demonetized, and it was because of copyright. And I realized what the problem was. So I took the video down right away and then did a thumbnail for it and replaced the video with screen grabs and reposted it with, I think, the exact same name. That's why when you first talked to me about this, I was just stunned. I was like, what? Like, I had no idea people were experiencing that. When you first asked me, I got the impression that you just assumed that I was reft with problems as well. And so I kind of felt badly. I even at the time, I think, didn't know if I should pretend that, oh yeah, those bastards are frying me up against the wall, you know. I also just review the show. I don't care who hates who. I don't care who called who fat at the club. I don't care. I have a life. I go, once Drag Race is over, my concern for these people is over. It's a show. Do I follow certain queens after they've been on because I found them interesting on the show? Absolutely. But it's a TV show. So my review of, or the way I like to review it, I feel, is just point of fact. I have opinions, and I might say, you know, quietly to myself that I think somebody isn't playing fair, but I have a background in TV and radio, and I know what producing a show like that entails. So I understand it from a production point of view. The way I watch Drag Race is solely as a viewer, period. I am just going to watch what they want me to see and have an opinion of it after. I mean, I remember season 4, season 3, when they did the confessionals, the little interviews, their shirts would change during an episode because they hadn't thought to film them all in one go. Like this may be a reality show, but it's only a reality show in that nobody's written a script for it, but it's being scripted. I mean, this is why they have a bunch of editors and a couple of different producers that are all sitting there making, you know, they have a director, like somebody's saying, I want this storyline to start. Do we have enough footage to make it so? You know what I mean? I get all that, but if I spent all my time worrying about that, then I wouldn't enjoy the show. And the other thing is, as people watching this show, if you think that the production is actually looking for the next drag superstar, then watch out, because somebody's got Swampland for sale for you.
Don't say it.
No, I mean, this is a TV show. They're there to make money, and you know they do what they're doing to perpetuate that. I mean, keep in mind, even when the judges are being dragged across the social media, they're still talking about Drag Race.
Oh yes.
You know what I mean? Like they don't have a problem with all of that. I think for me, my approach to it is really just what you see is what you get. I have to say that's what I like about your channel, is because you really do watch the show differently than I do. And I'm not saying that I'm ignoring it or turning a blind eye to it. I'm literally an audience. Like when I watch TV, I just accept it. My only crime, I think, in watching anything is if I don't believe it. You know, when something's done so badly that I'm like, okay, I'm not paying attention. But I have to tell you, sometimes I don't know why, but out of the gate, Wilma didn't swear. I don't know why, because I swear like a trucker. If you see me do stand-up, the air above my head goes blue. But for some reason or another, Wilma doesn't swear. And this is why things like Sweet Marie and the Ships at Sea and all of that stuff comes from, is just this, I don't want to swear. And the reason for that is because the viewership of RuPaul's Drag Race is very young.
Yeah.
You know, the bulk of it is children still living at home. The next group is gay men in their 30s, and the rest fit in around them. But the thing we have to remember is that a lot of these people that are bullying and having something to say, they're not even from the LGBTQI family.
Yes.
You know what I mean? They have no idea how to talk to another person, never mind a grown-up. They're not being raised in the era of conversation, etiquette, any of that. I mean, the children are being raised by whatever channel is on available to them with the parent control. You know, this is why we have people arguing from, I think, I don't agree with you, die. You know, it goes from I don't agree with you to die in the worst way possible.
Yeah, it really feels like those kind of conversation that probably older people like us were having when we were like 9 or 10. Because
I've told people to die once or twice myself, but it's a joy to listen to. But yeah, I think we've got to remember, like, a lot of what's going on isn't being done by our community. It's being done by parentless children, like children who are being raised in absentia, and even their parents don't know what they're talking about. Do you know what I mean? It's which staggers me, because I think of that attitude as being my generation's attitude, where, oh, who cares? You know, I grew up in one of the last generations where I can say, oh, we used to have to talk to phones attached to the wall. You know what I mean? And yes. I just feel like there's this level of, like, any 20-year-old or younger should have a better basic upbringing, because I think that the generation that my generation is responsible for produce some different thinkers. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like the problem that we have right now on the internet is that you're not allowed to, if you don't think the same way as somebody, you're not only wrong, but on a criminal level.
Yeah, it's basically a reasoning that goes by opposite. Either you stand on one side of the fence or you stand on the other. And you have these two extremes and there is nothing in between, which in a way I understand because, building the road that connects these two opposite and finding your own middle way, this is something that, first of all, you learn inside the family while growing up. And second of all, you start getting it from the environment that's outside of the family, and then from the own work that you do with yourself, with the feedback that you get from interacting with the society. The problem is that maybe a lot of these people get raised by families who are maybe not even there. The feedback that they get from social media, because today the only media that they get is social media. They don't read, maybe they watch a little bit of television, which, let's be honest, it's not that much quality, and that's it. And then they have their peers and they whore 24/7 on their phone, where basically everything that they do online is heavily influenced by the algorithms that these companies have to have them to keep engaging more and more and more. So they are, in a way, I feel also sorry for them because they are trapped in this bubble and they don't seem to understand that they are even in a bubble. So that's why I try to always bring the educational value. Like, okay, yes, we can call out a lot of these things, but why are they wrong? Why don't they work? How can we make it work a little bit better? Because literally, most of the time, we are talking to an audience who is never given the instruments to do this kind of step forward. They have always been there, and every time they approached any kind of media on the internet, they've been exploited over and over and over for clicks, views, engagement, because it's money. Nobody gives a shit about anyone. It's all about money. That's the point. So for a lot of people, for the vast majority of people, this is not a show. And when you tell them, don't do this shit, don't start making out fake stuff to bring people down, don't start harassing people, for God's sake, don't start sending death threats to people, because telling them does not work. So if telling them not to do this stuff does not work, then the next logical step for me is showing you that you have been fed a ton of bullshit. So if you keep doing this shit, you're going to look like a complete idiot.
Yeah.
Because you completely fell for it. So this is why we started creating this show. I completely understand the fact that these things do happen. The point is, when you have people in power who could really make a difference if they spoke out, why don't they speak out? Why doesn't World of Wonder have rule, like, come out and say in a 30-second message, before the beginning of the show, please, this is heavily edited. If you use this to get an idea of who these people are, you are an imbecile. Things like that. It would really
doesn't say that at the end of the credits?
No.
Oh, I thought for sure it said something, contents of the show have been edited for time, and I thought there was something like that in there. There may have been one at one point, and now they don't have.
There may have been one at one point, but it would be different if the star of the show comes out and tries to, tell people, don't use this as a basis to get an opinion. This is for you to fill your oats on the sofa, live your life, and when it's over, it's over. And that's it. Because, but they don't do it, because if you break the illusion of reality, all of these younger viewers will be like, why am I watching this when I could watch a TV series, for example, with higher production value, better actors? The moment they start associating the queens to actors, it's like, oh, shit.
Yeah. No, I have to say, I am disappointed that not just RuPaul's Drag Race, but all of these reality shows, I mean, they all follow a formula for a reason, and that's to A, make sure people watch, and B, to keep it interesting.
Yes, you need to keep the engagement.
Yeah, and I understand that, but I do feel badly. Like, there's obvious issues sometimes, like judgment calls, like somebody winning and everyone's like, like the audience is like, what? And that kind of thing. It's like, I wish that their calls made more sense.
I think that at some point, probably the moment they switched from Logo to VH1, they realized that they were sitting on literally hundreds of millions of dollars, because Drag Race is $1 billion franchise, and not
Oh
a
yeah.
lot of people know that.
Mhm.
And they realize that they're sitting on all of these potential money. And at that point, what you want to do is try to replicate it as fast as possible. Do the
Yeah.
show as fast as possible.
Well, that's why
Franchise
we
it.
had to. That's why we had to suffer through Drag U.
That's why we also had to suffer through secret celebrity drag.
Oh, but we
race.
only had to do that for 3 weeks.
I gave up on the second episode. But going back to the judging thing and how everything seems to not really patch up together with the critiques. What I wanted to say is that when they realized the potential of this business, they started like mass producing it. Because one thing is the old Drag Race, when you really have your field producers in there taking notes, all the assistants taking notes, and they let everything happen naturally, and then
Yeah.
use all of these tiny pieces to say, okay, which kind of story do we want to tell with all of these pieces? How can we assemble them together to tell a story during the season for each queen that it's compelling, that's work, that's entertaining, that's engaging, and it feels very natural. But it's also a very time-consuming thing to do. It's much easier if you start with like, okay, we need a villain, so we're doing a casting. Perfect psychological evaluation. Let's see which person doesn't take criticism well. Let's see which person is not very reasonable. Let's see which person is not very rational and more emotional, you know? So you typecast your villain, then you typecast your hero, then you typecast your obligatory number of queens of color, because let's not forget, it's Viacom CBS, so they have all of these politics of representation, which it's good in one way and it's bad in another, so anyone can make their own mind on this. So you program all of your season. You see all of their outfits before, so you know, okay, queen number 3 needs to go out on episode 4. Okay, then the runway for episode 4 will be this one, because we know that that dress is trash. And the challenge will be an acting challenge, because we can edit everything so much to make it look like shit. So the fact that they have to produce a product in a very short amount of time makes it much easier if you just program everything before. You know, you cast all of these people, you see what they wear, you know what they do, and they're like, okay, you go home first, you go home second, you go home third, everything already falls into place, and it takes a couple of months to do all the editing instead of the usual 7-8 months.
Yeah.
And there's a problem. We as an audience lost the whole quality of the show, the spirit of the show, what really makes it real, what makes us connect. And these queens, when they are on television, sometimes I look at them and I think, my God, it looks like you are imprisoned. They really walk on eggshells, all because it looks like World of Wonder lost the passion for doing this show. And I'm like, we love this show. We want it to do good. That's why we are pointing out all of these things. I mean, if you're not an idiot, you take these things, you make it better, and the franchise will continue going on for the next 10, 20, 30 years, possibly forever. I'm not complaining. But the problem is that you start, you know, have people coming out and say, oh, listen, but I stopped watching because this and this and this and this. And in a way, they are right, because maybe they don't have the emotional attachment that I have, that my partner has, that you have. This is the first real queer franchise that portrayed us in the most honest possible ways, especially in the very first season. I mean, when I was like really, really young, I watched Will and Grace and I was like, shit, I'm not like that at all. Why are they pushing this image that doesn't represent a ton of us? And I couldn't watch it. And I had a ton of friends saying, oh, it's so good. It's so good. It's fun.
But again, you know, I want to say again, we're not their target audience. This is the thing, though. We're letting them profit from us, you know, because everything's a choice where you spend your money, how, you know, it's no one's holding a gun up to anyone's head and stealing it in the night. It's the same thing with, you know, the whole anger about this contract that these queens have to sign.
Oh my God, don't get me started.
You know, the problem is, here's the problem. They'll always have that contract because they'll always find queens to sign it. If all the queens said, no, I'm not signing that, then no one would be on the show and they wouldn't have a product. But so many people want to be on the show, they don't care. They'll sign away children they don't have yet, you know?
Oh my God. I when you say this kind of fucked up things, I really appreciate you, because I connect a lot with that sense of humor. Yes, they exactly, they would sell
Yeah.
children they don't have. People would literally kill to get on Drag Race, and that's why they can exert so much power with that contract. What pops to me is always to those one of two people who basically cannot pay rent anymore because they went on Drag Race. And I understand the reasoning. I mean, you still signed the contract, you still did all of these things. But for God's sake, is there nothing at all that we can do? Like a minimal amount of things? Because we are still a community in a way. We're not just any community, we are the queer community. It's made of people that 30, 40 years ago were kicked out of their houses because of the way they were. People that really had to choose their families. This is the community that I inherited, for example. You probably lived through it. So we are used to giving each other this kind of support. So yes, I hear like, oh, these contracts are on any kind of reality television. Yes, but they affect communities that are not our community.
Yeah.
We have like a different history, a different way of relating to it. That's why I think these things tend to fly less, because nobody is complaining about the housewives of Atlanta being overly produced. You don't see these
Including
things.
them.
So, in a way, especially for a show that it's presenting itself as if it's empowering our community, it's adding up value to our community. And I'm like, yeah, maybe 10 years ago. Right now, yeah, it's still a good thing, but at a kind of price that I'm not sure I'm really comfortable with. If I didn't talk about all of these things, I would feel guilty about enjoying the show.
I'm not justifying anything here. I'm not saying that I like the editing of RuPaul's Drag Race. I don't. I would prefer it to be as realistic as possible. But the hard bit of cheese there is sometimes people are boring. Do you know what I mean? Like, this is why they manipulate everything. There's always an activity. There's always a long night of something. And the fact that they're not able to use their phones or contact their inner circle of support that normally would help talk them through this kind of a situation.
Yeah, should make them
I mean,
crazy
I think
already.
Scientologists are treated better.
Oh my God. Wilma.
Do you know what I mean? It's just like, wow. Like, and then the contract, it's got to be weak. If the longer they last on the show, the more they start going, why did I sign that contract?
Yeah.
Or they're already thinking of loopholes. Where's the loophole? But also remember now, and I became very aware of this with Laganja Estranja, and I can't remember the girl on season 11. She was like an anime cartoon brought to life. I can't think of her name. But these two came into Drag Race merged. They were ready to be famous. Laganja self-sabotaged herself. She was so ready to be famous and created this persona. And the thing is now, after 12, 13 years of this show being on the air, these people are going in. They know, they've heard all of this. They know the contract's awful. They know that they're going to be manipulated. And some of them, like I think Pandora Box is a prime example of this, don't want to give them anything. And what ends up happening is the whole audience at home goes, why is she standing in the background doing nothing?
Oh yeah, I think the same thing happened with Rosé back in season 13. She was just so prepared and so professional that came off as basically bland. They gave her the bland edit because she was that much in control of everything that was going on. So in a way it's a gamble, because either you do absolutely nothing and try to never be triggered by anything, remain professional, and you come off as bland. Or you put out your personality, and then whatever happens, happens. You just have to pray to the gay gods that they will like you enough to portray you in a positive way. Because if they don't, it will literally take you years to recover from this. And that, I think, it's one of the things that it's unacceptable, because it would take so little from them to educate the tiniest bit the audience, like the tiniest bit. It doesn't have to be an educational show, but can we have like a 3% of educational value inside it? Especially, when they use this queen as if they are disposable. That's the point. They
Yeah.
have so many of them. So many want
But
to
they
be
are
on.
disposable.
Yeah, I didn't want to say it. You said it.
But they're making that choice. Like, no one's got a gun up against their head saying, "Are you going to sign the contract or not?"
Yeah.
The problem is there's no one else offering a contract. It's a one pony show.
Yeah, they have this thing. Well, the gig that they have with WoW Plus is a very lucrative one because basically they have the rights for RuPaul's Drag Race worldwide, and then they
Mhm.
probably license them regionally to
Mhm.
other states. With this thing of Drag Race, they literally launched a streaming service, a very successful streaming service that look at CBS All Access, for example. They had to rebrand themselves because the competition is so strong that it wasn't really working. They had to change the name. And World of Wonder, it's really successful coming from a niche of entertainment when you think about it. There are some seasons of Drag Race you will just never find them. You will just never find them. You have to go on WoW Plus. That's it. That's just how it is. For season 1, for example, was called the lost season for a reason
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
nobody could find it.
I
I
watched it.
Yeah, I watched it like 5 years ago for the first time.
Oh no, I saw it the year it aired. It was on MTV in the States and Much Music here in Canada, and I think it was on at about 7 o'clock.
My
And
God.
I turned it on because it was RuPaul. Like, I didn't much care what the show is. It's like, RuPaul's what? Oh, I'm going to at least check this out. And I literally for just lucked into it. I watched the first whole season on TV. And now, like, the things that I feel badly about is that a lot of people are coming into Drag Race as teenagers, but they're coming in like season 9, season 8,
Yeah.
and they go back and watch the other stuff at some point for sure, but they kind of grab on where they grab on and come forward with it. And no one's going to understand, regardless of how cheap and badly lit the season 1 was, that there was nothing on TV like that.
Oh yeah.
Like, they could have lit those drag queens on fire and had you phone in money to put them out, and I still would have watched it. Do you know what I mean? It was just like, what am I watching? What's happening?
It was one of the very few queer show that we had, and one of the most truthful that we
Yeah.
had.
And then
That
they
was the
went
whole
to
thing.
VH1, and now it's not a gay show anymore. You know what I mean?
Oh, thank you for saying it. That's
Yeah.
you don't know how many times I said that. It's like they put this outrageous gay references in there. Oh, yeah, I'll take the anal option or bring poppers, which
Yeah.
is, it's stuff. I understand the joke. I totally get it.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really, it feels, all of this feels more like exposition for other people than really a show that it's made by us for us. It's
Uh-huh.
more like exposition of the queer community. I get what you're saying, that it doesn't really feels like it's made for us anymore.
Yeah.
It
Because they're not telling us what a ball means. We know what a ball means. But every time they say, oh, it's a ball challenge, and then they explain what a ball is, it's like, okay, because you have 12-year-olds watching.
Yeah. Yeah, it feels like they are ready to explain everything. That they want to give you the freedom to jump in at any moment and feel like you didn't miss anything.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a tough trick to manage. The problem is how much you're going to compromise everything in order to maintain all of these things.
Well, no, of course you wouldn't. But then again, they're not doing this for you. 12-year-olds will compromise everything in a snap. This is the problem. You keep thinking about this show at your age being for your age, and it's really not. And sometimes I think that's the biggest problem that we have in our watching habits for RuPaul's Drag Race is logic is not playing into this.
No, not at all. It
you
makes you
know
a disservice. You don't have to think.
Yeah, it's almost like we're going into it with our expectations far too high. Lower your expectations, people. You'll live a happier life. Accept less.
Good God. Anyway, let's call it a night so that I can go
All
smoke
right,
a
my
cigarette
darling.
and go to bed. Thank you so much for joining. It was really a pleasure to have you here.
Oh, it's mine as
Um,
well.
Whenever you want to join, you are always welcome in here. There's always an open door.
Well, thank you so much.
I don't know how much you would actually enjoy the way we do our reviews, but you're welcome to join anytime. It was really nice.
As soon
having
as
you
I
here.
get caught up on my own reviews. Can I just say, Shannon wanted to know where you can find me. If you go to YouTube and type Wilma Fingerdo with 2 O's, I'm the first one that comes up. Either that, I think I'm on Twitter as @WFingerdo, and then on Instagram as @the Wilma Fingerdo.
Oh, sorry.
But if you Google search my name in any of those things, I'm one of the first to pop up. So
sorry, Wilma. I've been unprofessional. I forgot to tell everyone where they
I just don't know what my links are. I'm an idiot.
I know. I just posted a link to your channel, but I know it's customary when you have guests to stop for a moment and say, please plug yourself a little bit now. Tell us where to find you. Tell us what to do. And I just forgot it because I prepared a cigarette for myself, and I'm like scratching, like, oh my God, I want to go to smoke, and it's so disrespectful. But I posted the link for Wilma's channel. Please go subscribe there. She is an absolute delight. Thank you so much for joining, and I will see you guys in a couple of weeks. Good night, everyone.
Mwah!